Last week a customer came into the shop with a 2019 Honda Civic, check engine light on, rough idle, poor gas mileage. He'd already been to the dealership. They hooked it up to the scanner, read the codes, and handed him a quote for $650 to replace the MOF sensor. He wasn't sure about it, so he drove across town to get a second opinion. I pulled the MAF sensor, held it up to the light, and saw exactly what I expected to see, a thin, oily film coating the sensing element. Nothing broken, nothing worn out, just dirty. I sprayed it with MAF sensor cleaner, let it dry, put it back in, 10 minutes of work. $12 in test drove Italiano rough Ilgon. Check engine light cleared. Car ran exactly the way it's supposed to. He stood there, looking at me like I'd pulled off a magic trick. I hadn't. I'd just done what the dealership decided wasn't worth their time. And here's the thing, this isn't a rare story. This happens every single week in shops across America. Sensors that aren't broken. Sensors that just need cleaning. Sensors that get replaced for $300, $400, $500 when a $12 can of cleaner and 15 minutes would have done the same job. Today I'm going to walk you through the sensors that most commonly get misdiagnosed as failed when they're actually just dirty. What cleaning them actually involves, and the one question you should ask any shop before authorizing a sensor replacement. This is information that saves you money every time your check engine light comes on. Before I get into specific sensors, I want to explain why this problem exists, because it's not really about dishonest mechanics. It's about how repair shops work economically. A mechanic's time is billed by the hour. Diagnosis takes time, cleaning a sensor takes time. And the result of cleaning a sensor is that the shop gets paid for 30 minutes of labor at shop rates. The result of replacing a sensor is that the shop gets paid for the part markup plus the labor. Parts carry significant margins at most shops, especially dealerships. So when a scanner points to a specific sensor code, replacing the sensor is the fastest path to a closed repair order. That's not malice, it's math. The customer gets the car fixed, the shop gets paid. Everyone moves on. The only person who doesn't win is the driver who paid $400 for a part that didn't need replacing. The diagnostic step that would have identified cleaning as the solution, actually pulling the sensor. Inspecting test cleaning it takes more time than the part. And that extra time isn't automatically reflected in a higher labor rate that makes up for the part margin the shop is giving up. Understanding this dynamic is what lets you advocate for yourself at any shop. You're not accusing anyone of dishonesty. You're asking a reasonable question about whether a cheaper solution was ruled out before the expensive one was proposed. Let's go through the sensors where this plays out most often. TMAF sensor meservlam one nost. If you don't know what it does, here's the quick version. The MAF sensor sits in your intake system, between the air filter, box, and the throttle body. Its job is to measure exactly how much air is entering the engine. That measurement is what your engine's computer, the ECU, uses to calculate how much fuel to inject with every combustion cycle. Get that measurement right, and the engine runs cleanly and efficiently. Get it wrong and everything downstream is off. The air-fuel mixture is wrong. The engine compensates poorly. You get rough idle, hesitation under acceleration, poor fuel economy, and eventually a check engine light with codes like P0171 or P0174 for lean. Mixture codes that point directly at MAF sensor issues. Here's what actually causes most MAF sensor problems in everyday vehicles. The sensing element inside the thin wire film, we're talking 1000-inch, that heats up to measure airflow. Over time, oil mist from the crankcase, ventilation system coats it. Dust that sneaks past, the air filter sticks to it. If you're running an oiled aftermarket air filter, the cotton gauze type. Excess oil from the filter eventually migrates onto the element. None of this breaks the sensor. It just degrades its ability to read accurately. The element is still there. The circuit is still complete. The sensor just can't give the ECU clean data through a film of oil and dust. According to Jerry, AI's repair cost documentation, Professional MAF sensor cleaning runs $50 to $100 at a shop and can buy thousands of miles of proper operation, compared to $200 to $550 for a full replacement. That cost difference is the conversation most shops skip. The correct cleaning process is specific and worth knowing. You need MAF sensor cleaner, a dedicated product, not throttle body cleaner, not brake cleaner, not carburetor cleaner, not WD-40. The chemistry matters. Throttle body cleaner contains aggressive solvents that leave residue on the sensing element and can damage the calibration. Brake cleaner is even more aggressive. MAF sensor cleaner is specifically formulated to evaporate cleanly without leaving any residue on delicate electrical components. CRC MAF sensor cleaner is the most widely used product among professional mechanics. You remove the sensor from the intake. Spray 10 to 15 short bursts directly onto the sensing element, no touching it with anything. No swabs, no brushes. Your finger stays away from it entirely and let it air dry for at least 10 to 15 minutes before reinstalling. That's the whole process. According to Vehicle Run's technical documentation on MAF sensor cleaning, this approach works most effectively when contamination, rather than physical failure, is the cause of the problem and contamination is the cause. Far more often than actual sensor failure in vehicles with less than 150,000 miles. If cleaning doesn't resolve the codes after reinstallation and a test drive, then you're looking at a sensor that genuinely needs replacement. But the cleaning attempt cost you $12 and 15 minutes. The replacement costs $200 to $400 in parts plus labor. The order of operations is obvious. Clean first. Replace only if cleaning doesn't work. The next sensor that gets replaced when it just needs attention is the Crankshaft sensor, or CKP sensor. Most drivers have never heard of this one, but it's critical. The CKP sensor monitors the position and rotational speed of the crankshaft, the main rotating component at the bottom of the engine. The ECU uses this data in real time to time fuel injection and ignition spark with precision. When this sensor fails or gives erratic readings, the engine loses its timing reference. You get misfires, rough running, hesitation, hard starting, and in some cases a no-start condition. The diagnostic codes are typically P0335 or P0336, crankshaft position sensor circuit malfunction. The CKP sensor lives in a harsh environment. It's mounted low on the engine block, close to the crankshaft, in a location that accumulates everything: oil mist, metallic particles from the engine's rotating assembly, heat-baked carbon deposits. The sensor itself uses a magnetic field too, reed teeth on a reluctor wheel that rotates with the crankshaft. When metal particles or burned oil deposits build up on the tip of the sensor, they interfere with that magnetic field. The sensor's readings become erratic. The ECU sees inconsistent data and logs a fault. At a shop, the code points to the sensor, and the sensor gets replaced for $150 to $300. But in many cases, particularly on higher mileage vehicles where deposit buildup is more significant, the sensor isn't failed. It's contaminated. Before replacing a CKP sensor, the correct diagnostic process includes removing it and inspecting the tip. If there's visible buildup of metal particles, oil deposits, or carbon, clean the tip carefully with a clean cloth or a light application of electrical contact cleaner. Check the gap between the sensor tip and the reluctor wheel while you have it out. Some vehicles have specific gap specifications. And a sensor that was installed slightly too far from the wheel will read inconsistently even when clean. Reinstall, clear the codes, and test drive. If the codes don't return, the sensor was dirty, not failed. If they return immediately, then replacement is warranted. This diagnostic step takes 30 minutes and potentially saves the cost of a part that didn't need replacing. Now let's talk about oxygen sensors, and specifically, the expensive mistake that happens when oxygen sensor issues get misread as catalytic converter failure. Your vehicle has 2 or more oxygen sensors in the exhaust system. The upstream sensor Before the catalytic converter monitors the exhaust gases from the engine and sends data to the ECU for real-time fuel mixture adjustment. The downstream sensor, after the catalytic converter, monitors how effectively the converter is cleaning the exhaust gases. When the downstream oxygen sensor starts giving slow or inconsistent readings, the ECU interprets this as the catalytic converter not doing its job. The code that shows up, PO for 2.0 or PO for 3.0, catalyst efficiency below threshold, sounds like a catalytic converter problem. And the quote that follows often includes a catalytic converter replacement at $800 to $1,500 or more. But here's what frequently happens. The catalytic converter is fine. The oxygen sensor downstream is dirty or degraded and giving the ECU inaccurate data about what the converter is doing. The converter looks like it's failing because the sensor reporting on it is lying. Replace the downstream oxygen sensor, which costs $50 to $200 depending on the vehicle, and the P0420 code goes away because the ECU is now getting accurate data that confirms the converter is working correctly. I've seen this play out more times than I can count. A customer comes in with a $1,200 catalytic converter quote. I replace the downstream O2 sensor for $150 in parts and labor. Problem solved. The converter was fine the whole time. Oxygen sensors do genuinely fail, and when they do, they need to be replaced. There's no effective way to restore a sensor whose internal ceramic element has degraded from age and heat exposure. But before any catalytic converter replacement, the oxygen sensors should be tested and, if necessary, replaced first. It's the cheaper diagnostic step that rules out a sensor problem before committing to a converter replacement. The fourth sensor that saves drivers money when cleaned rather than immediately replaced is the ABS wheel speed sensor. Every wheel on your vehicle has a speed sensor that tells the ABS system how fast that individual wheel is rotating. When the ABS system detects one wheel slowing faster than the others during braking, which indicates that wheel is locking up, it pulses the brake on the wheel to maintain rolling contact with the road. That's anti-lock braking. These sensors live at the wheel hub in an environment that gets everything: brake dust, road grime, mud, salt in winter states, water. The sensors are designed to handle this environment, but the sensing tip can accumulate enough contamination over time that the readings become inconsistent. The ABS warning light comes on. The system disables itself because it's getting bad data. The scanner points to a specific wheel speed sensor. The shop quotes $150 to $300 for sensor replacement. Before that replacement happens, the sensor deserves an inspection. Remove it from the wheel hub. Look at the tip. If it's caked with rust, mud, or brake dust, that contamination is the problem. Clean the tip with a wire, brush, and brake cleaner. Look at the reluctor ring, the toothed ring on the hub that the sensor reads, and clean any debris from the teeth. Reinstall the sensor, clear the ABS fault codes, and test. In a significant percentage of cases, particularly on vehicles that have been driven in harsh winter conditions or on unpaved roads, this resolves the problem completely. The sensor itself is perfectly functional. It just couldn't read accurately through a layer of road grime. Here's the checklist I follow at the shop before I recommend replacing any sensor. And it's the process that any honest mechanic should be willing to tell you they followed before handing you a replacement quote. First, I pull the diagnostic codes and note whether they're stored or currently active. An intermittent stored code that isn't currently active tells a different story than a code that's actively firing right now. Second, I do a visual inspection of the sensor and its connector. Is the connector seated fully? Are there signs of corrosion at the terminals? Is the wiring harness chafed or damaged anywhere near the sensor? Third, I remove the sensor and inspect it physically. Is there visible contamination? Is the sensing element physically damaged? Fourth, I clean the sensor with the appropriate product for that sensor type and reinstall it. Fifth, I clear the codes and test, drive to see if the codes return. Only if the codes return after all of that do I recommend a sensor replacement. This process takes more time than just reading the code and ordering a part. But it's the process that serves the customer honestly. The question you should ask at any shop before authorizing a sensor replacement is simply this: did you clean the sensor before recommending replacement? A shop that cleaned it, retested, and confirmed the sensor is still faulty has earned the replacement recommendation. A shop that read the code and immediately went to a replacement quote without that step is asking you to pay for a part that may not be necessary. That question costs you nothing to ask. The answer tells you whether you're dealing with a thorough diagnostic process or a parts-first approach. If the shop can't tell you that cleaning was attempted and failed, get a second opinion before authorizing an expensive repair. A couple of things worth being clear about. Cleaning doesn't work on every sensor. An oxygen sensor whose internal ceramic element has physically degraded from 150,000 miles of heat cycling won't be restored by any cleaning process. A MAF sensor whose sensing wire is physically broken needs replacement. A crankshaft position sensor whose magnetic element has failed internally won't be fixed by cleaning the tip. These genuine failures are real, and they do require new parts. The point isn't that sensors never need replacing, it's that contamination is a far more common cause of sensor problems than actual failure on vehicles under 150,000 miles, and contamination is addressed by cleaning, not by replacement. The cleaning attempt is the diagnostic step that distinguishes one from the other, and it should always come before the replacement quote. The financial reality of this is straightforward. According to Jerry.ai's repair documentation, professional MAF sensor cleaning runs $50 to $100 at a shop. The average MAF sensor replacement is $200 to $550 for crankshaft position sensors. Cleaning is a $0 parts cost versus $150 to $300 for a new sensor. For ABS wheel speed sensors, cleaning versus replacement is the difference between an hour of labor and $150 to $300 in parts. Multiplied across the sensors that a vehicle might need attention on in a year, the difference between a shop that cleans first and a shop that replaces first is easily $500 to $1,000 in any given service visit. The next time your check engine light comes on and a shop hands you a sensor replacement quote, ask the question: did you clean it first? If they did and the problem persists, pay for the replacement with confidence. They've done the work to confirm it's necessary. If they didn't, ask them to. It's a reasonable request. Any shop with good diagnostic practices will accommodate it. The ones who push back are telling you something about their diagnostic process that's worth knowing before you hand over your card. If this saved you money on a repair you were about to authorize, hit the like button. Drop a comment below telling me what you've been quoted for sensor replacements and whether anyone ever offered to try cleaning first. I read every single one. Subscribe for more honest, practical car information. No products to push, no scare tactics, just what actually helps.